Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Episode 5 here of Shootin The Schmidt, and we got our first guest. Finally, 5 episodes into the podcast. Or a ton of fun hopping on for the pod. What's going on, Orton?
Just living the dream out here.
Oh yeah, buddy. Hold on, we got one thing. Boom, there we go. All right, good. Now we should be able to hear you. What's up, buddy?
Can we hear me now?
Oh, yeah, we're good. We're good. We're all set.
Perfect. Awesome.
First trial here doing the dual podcast. I think we got things pretty well set up so far. But anyway, welcome back to episode 5 of Shootin The Schmidt. Got some good stuff to get into, some good topics to talk about here in the sports world, the Call of Duty world. A lot of good things in store. But before we get into that, we do have a 5-star review to read. As always, you guys leave those 5-star reviews over on Apple Podcasts. We'll read them out live right here on the pod for you. And we've got a new one from our boy Sharpie. It says, so here you are, scrolling along, looking for another podcast to listen to on your commute, at work, etc. And bam! Slaps you right on the cheeks. Schmidt is the man. Be prepared to have your mind blown. This man talks about any and all topics, the good, the bad, the ugly. Slicker than an Xbox joystick sprayed down with WD-40. Be prepared for the best podcast to ever hit the stream. Prepare to get Schmidt on. #GreatSchmidt. Much love, Sharpie. Appreciate the review as always. Like I said, leave those reviews over on Apple Podcasts. We'll read them out live here on the pod. Leave them in the YouTube comments as well. Whatever you guys are listening to over on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, Google, Stitcher, follow and subscribe to the podcast. Do appreciate it. New episodes coming out every single Thursday. But let's get into our first bit of stuff here. We had some big Lions stuff go down here within the last week. We got a brand new coach, Dan Campbell, coming over from the New Orleans Saints. We got some quarterback drama going on, and as well as some other coaching hires. So let's start with Dan Campbell. Had one of the more memorable press conferences I think that I've ever seen. I mean, this is up there with the Herm Edwards with the playoffs, and Terrell Owens, that's my quarterback. I mean, this is up there. Dan Campbell coming out for the kneecaps, baby. He wants those kneecaps.
It was definitely interesting. I mean, when I first saw it, I was like, there's no way we actually hired this guy. I mean, it was like, it kind of like threw me off, and he was like, gonna bite you right in the kneecap. I was just like, I don't understand that at all. I was just.
It does not look like he's going to be your traditional head coach, but that might be a good thing. I mean, we've had plenty of traditional head coaches in the past, and that hasn't gotten us anywhere. So hopefully we get a guy in there that'll shake up the locker room and things of that nature. But man, what an interesting dude. We got Did you see? I don't know if you saw ESPN First Take was talking about Dan Campbell and said Lions fans should be concerned. And they said Dan Campbell should get fined for this interview for
really?
Just being malicious and shit like that. Like it was too malicious.
We're just biting the knees. Like, come on now.
I guess they were afraid of Ndamukong Suh 2.0 or something. But
yeah, it started with the kicking, and now we're biting knees. So
stepping on Rodgers, and now we're coming for the kneecaps.
Right.
But then you got the side of Pat McAfee, who's like, dude, this guy's the man. Coming in, he's rooting for the Lions, so that'll be good.
I mean, it can't get much worse. So we start with the pencil in the ear to bite kneecaps. So
yeah, I mean, we'll
see what happens. I guess
I talked about it last week when he was officially hired. It's good to get someone coming from a good system of the Saints and Sean Payton, but we just had Matt Patricia come from a dynasty in New England and Bill Belichick. So, and we couldn't get anything going with that.
That whole topic there. I mean, is it really Bill, or is it Mr. the GOAT Tom Brady that did all the work? I mean,
we're going to be getting into that when we get into
is the proof in the pudding, or what?
We're going to be getting into that when we talk about the playoff games that ensued in our little Super Bowl preview coming up. But before we get into some of the stuff, sticking with the Lions, not only with Dan Campbell, but we've got some pretty solid coaching hires coming in as well. Former Chargers head coach Anthony Lynn is going to be our offensive coordinator. Deuce Staley, who a lot of Eagles fans wanted this guy as their head coach. He's coming in as the assistant head coach and running backs coach. And now we're getting John Dorsey up in the front office, who was with the Chiefs and the Browns, bringing in a bunch of those guys who are now top playoff teams. Are the Lions finally turning it around? I mean, they're getting some of the right guys in there.
They definitely. I think they're getting some pretty good guys. I mean, if you look at it with the Browns, I mean, Dorsey was the one who drafted Denzel Ward and Baker in the first round of that draft, and they seem to be pretty top-tier prospects. I mean, they made it to the playoffs. I mean, we're still not making playoffs, so it can't hurt anything there.
Right.
The Chargers coach there, I mean, he hasn't had a too stellar of a year, but the man knows his stuff. I mean, the offense looked pretty good. I think they just needed a little bit on the defensive side there, but
right. Well, he doesn't
and
have
as
to
far
run
as
the
the
whole
other
team
guy,
this time.
I'm not
so.
too right. Yeah, I'm not too familiar with the other guy, but we'll see how it goes. It can't be any worse than what we had this year for sure.
Right. The one thing I heard with Deuce Staley is he commands the locker room. Whenever he got up and spoke, everybody paid attention to that guy and wanted to hear what he had to say. So probably the kind of guy we need in the locker room in Detroit. I mean, definitely can't hurt.
For sure, can't help you.
But one last big drama part with the Lions. We've got some good coaching hires. We're getting a lot of positive things coming in for the Lions, but we do have one negative/positive, and it looks like we're losing our franchise quarterback, Matt Stafford. After 12 years getting drafted with the first overall pick back in 2009, it looks like we're finally mutually parting ways, which is a good move for both sides for the future. I loved Stafford. I thought he was a really good quarterback, but he needs some help. He needs a franchise that will do him right. And so I'm happy for him.
Yeah, see, I thought we should have moved him a while ago. Not just because of anything like our team wise, but I feel like he is a good enough where he can at least go win somewhere. I don't think he was benefiting in Detroit at all. I feel like he tried playing in situations where we needed to draft higher than we needed to help get him support, and he wanted to go out and win, which is a great mentality. But I mean, on times where we need to, get high draft capital, help him get better players, he wanted to go out and beat teams that were playing backup quarterbacks to try to get better draft picks, and we were trying to win. And I think if he goes to a good team, I think that'll benefit the team a lot because he is a great quarterback. He does have a winner's mentality, but I feel like it's good to finally just tank in a sense to finally get a full rebuild. Kind of like Cleveland. I mean, they tanked. Well, I don't even know if they tanked. They just sucked. But
yeah.
You see, after this many years, it's like they're finally putting pieces together. They got a decent team going on there. So, I mean, if you look at it, we've been drafted in the top 10 for the last 10 years, 20 years. Mm-hmm. And look at where we're at. It's like,
yep.
I feel like, I don't know. What in your eyes, what do you think he's worth? I mean, what should we get for him? What do you think?
I think minimum first round pick. Like there's some people arguing whether he's worth a first round pick. Like, I mean, Stephon Diggs got multiple first round picks. I don't think.
I think so.
Hopkins.
I'm not for sure.
Hopkins didn't even. I mean, they got David Johnson in the deal, but we knew his
right.
decline was
they
coming.
Got a steal. That was a steal there. But...
And there's been talks of Sam Darnold getting moved from the Jets. And they're thinking he's worth at least a second round. If Sam Darnold's a second round, Matt Stafford's easily a first round, in my opinion.
I think he's easily worth a first round pick.
Maybe another pick or something in there. Maybe if the team's desperate enough.
Right. I've seen the first round and possibly a third round this year, maybe even a third round next year kind of thing. I've seen that floating around. I've seen even a first and third this year. I think he's for sure worth a first. I don't know if any team will take it. I hope maybe even a first and a second, even if it's like a second next year or something along those lines.
Right.
I think that'll benefit out a lot. But I do hope we at least get something for him. I mean, we traded that, what was it, a safety or corner to the Seahawks, and he was
Darius
all pro
Slay.
or something like that?
Yeah.
It's like, no. That Darius Slay went to Philadelphia.
Yeah. We traded, yep, you're talking about...
Quandre Diggs.
Yes.
Quandre Diggs.
Yep.
Yeah, Pro Bowl. It's like, I mean, we got a fifth round pick. For that. It's like,
it's bad.
I hope we don't do something like that. They give him away for a bag of chips kind of thing. I mean,
yep. But I mean,
if we're gonna give him away for a bag of chips, you might as well play him.
Right. I mean, one thing's for sure. There's plenty of teams that are going to be interested. Colts just lost Phillip Rivers due to retirement. San Francisco does not have a set-in-stone quarterback situation with Jimmy G. New England, I mean, the Cam Newton the experiment, didn't turn out at all. Teams are going to want Matt Stafford, for sure. Texans are probably moving Deshaun Watson, so...
He might even, if he liked Patricia that much, he might go to the Patriots with him. I know he's headed back there, so
I know he wants to win. And, I mean, he's got the skill set to help a team do that. So, I mean, but if he goes to a team like the Colts, who's got a good run game, got a good offensive line, got a good defense, like
that's probably the best situation for him. The problem is that the Colts don't have the first round picks that I feel is required to get Stafford. They got like the 21st pick this year.
Yeah.
And I don't think they have a second round pick. I think they have a third round pick.
Maybe we get some future picks instead, but
right. Yeah, definitely something for him. But I feel like if he went to the Colts, they easily,
be a solid
upgrade from
team.
Phillip Rivers. Even though Phillip Rivers is excellent, I think he was just old.
Right.
And Stafford's I think 5 years younger than him. So
yeah. I mean, they're 8. You see guys like Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady going. I mean, Stafford might have another 7, 8, 9 years. So who knows?
Right. Yeah. For real. I don't think his arm talent has went down the drain just yet. So
no. But it is good for the Lions in the long term. I mean, it's going to hurt them in the short term. You lose your franchise quarterback. That sucks. But it's very good for Matthew
100%.
Stafford. And seeing him get shafted by an organization that did not do enough for him, I'm happy for him. Hopefully he can go out and show the world how good he really is, because you're going to get severely undervalued playing for a team like the Lions. So,
do you, if we do decide to trade him, do you think we go first round QB? Or do we start Chase Daniels?
We have to do something. Chase Daniel cannot start as quarterback unless we're just planning on flat out tanking. There's no shot Chase Daniel gets a. But I did see a Mel Kiper, I think it was Mel Kiper mock draft today, projecting Justin Fields out of the old Ohio State Buckeyes.
No, I do not like that at all.
I'm not sold.
See, here's
either.
how I feel about that. I'm not sold on the QB from San Diego State, the one where Carson Wentz came from. Nope. It's
the
Zach,
other
whatever
kid.
is from. It's BYU. That's BYU.
Yep.
His name, I forgot his name, but he comes from San Diego State University. It's where Carson Wentz came from.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sold on that because it's a D2. It's a D2 college.
Didn't
I don't know if Carson Wentz.
I know, but there was who else just came out of
Wyoming?
Josh Allen just came out of Wyoming.
Yeah, he came from Wyoming. Yep.
Someone else just came out of North Dakota State or something. I swear somebody else who's starting right now just came out of.
Oh, maybe it was North Dakota State. That was Carson Wentz.
Okay.
Yeah. I thought it was San Diego State. It was North Dakota.
But
yeah, I just don't know. See how he turned out. I mean, I don't know if he's capable of. I mean, it looked decent off the rip, but I don't know if he has like the experience against good teams. Playing D2 to play in an NFL level.
Right.
See, I think if we take one, we either have to trade a lot to try to get Trevor Lawrence, or we draft that Micah Parsons linebacker. I think we need more help on defense than we do on offense.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. But I don't. We have to do something with quarterback, whether it's go out and get one of the free agent guys or draft one. I think with where we're at the 7 spot, and I'm not total. I mean, if one of the guys if one of those other 2 kids below Trevor Lawrence falls, maybe we'll look at that. I'm not personally sold on Justin Fields either.
I'm not. Yep.
Just as an NFL talent, great college talent without a doubt.
Yep.
But I feel like that just boosted his draft stock. I don't know how well he's going to translate to the NFL, but we cannot start Chase Daniel at quarterback. There's no.
We can.
Well, we could.
Or we could go get Fitzmagic.
We could. There was who else did I just see? Kid that just started, Jacoby Brissett, who I wouldn't mind having.
He wouldn't even be that bad, right?
I don't really want to see Cam Newton. I feel like the asking price would be too much, and you wouldn't get anything. But
right, yeah, I don't know.
I saw a couple Lions fans who got to be just drunk out of their mind saying, "Go get Deshaun Watson." That's not happening. No shot.
I don't think that's a good play. I think they want too much for him, and we don't have really. I think Deshaun wants to go to a team that's ready to win. Detroit's not ready to win.
I've heard rumors to the Jets though for Deshaun Watson.
Really? Oh, he wants to play there. I don't know why, but he does.
I don't know. I don't get it.
I think they're in a worse situation than we are.
I
That's
agree.
to teach their own, whatever.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I don't see that. I mean, even if we were to like swap them Stafford in there to just reduce the amount of draft stock we would have to give them or whatever. I mean, you're just going. Each quarterback's going from one bad situation to another. I mean, Houston's not in any good spot either. I mean, they're competing for the playoffs.
I wouldn't mind Stafford to the Jets though. I mean, they got the second round pick. I mean, we could kind of somehow maybe swindle Matthew Stafford and our 7th round pick for their 2nd round pick.
Maybe.
And then take your choice of quarterback after Trevor Lawrence.
I just feel like with Stafford's age, his talent, there's no question about his talent, but with his age, I just question how much people are going to give up for draft stock for him. But
right,
I guess we'll see. Well, that's enough Lion stock for the most part. Covered about everything. But let's get into the people that are actually winning football games. Over in the AFC and NFC championship games, we had Tampa Bay taking on Green Bay. Then we had the Chiefs taking on the Buffalo Bills. A couple, very, very good game. I guess the latter of the two wasn't that great of a game with the Chiefs and Bills. Bills got off to a hot start, and Chiefs pretty much stormed right back and led the game the rest of the way there. So Patty Mahomes going to a 2nd straight Super Bowl. We'll see if the Chiefs can go back-to-back. But an interesting one out in Green Bay and Tampa Bay that's caused a lot of controversy. And in the part we were just talking about earlier with Bill Belichick, it looks like Tom Brady was the key part over there in New England because he's, in his first year, leading a different franchise right back to the Super Bowl in a division that people weren't sure he was going to be able to win in because, he had an easy route in the AFC, especially in their specific division, playing the Jets, the Bills, and the Dolphins all the time. But taking the Bucs to the Super Bowl, a lot of talent on that team. I had picked the Packers to go all the way and win it, but, Tom Brady came out to play, and Bucs defense was there as well. They look good.
See, I think Tom Brady should have at least made it where he did. Not even saying that he should have went all the way to the Super Bowl. That Tampa Bay team is a play now win in a situation. They literally have they have 2 good wide receivers. You got Godwin and Evans. You got 2 stud running backs. You got a decent offensive line. You got a pretty good defense. I know there's a couple key players on that defense. They definitely got Gronk. It was like Tom Brady's coming. He's got a couple years left. Let's win now situation. They definitely capitalized on that for sure.
Yeah.
I think Tom Brady had a tougher route to get the Super Bowl this year for sure with that team.
Mm-hmm.
But this is, I think, Tom Brady's best team that he's had player-wise in his career.
Mm-hmm.
He has not had those kind of weapons in his entire career.
Yeah.
If you had had those kind of weapons earlier, oh geez, man, it would have been disgusting.
Yeah. The one argument I've heard to that is, well, Jameis Winston had that same exact lineup pretty much minus Gronk and Antonio Brown, but I don't see the comparison between Jameis Winston and Tom Brady. Jameis has a hell of an arm talent, but he's not the.
There's no comparison to that.
But I agree. A lot of people drew up Tom Brady to the Super Bowl right away, and that roster is stacked. But nonetheless, he's done his part. You can't knock him for that.
Sure.
He's gone out. He went out and beat the only other guy that at least I've put in the conversation with him with the GOAT status with Aaron Rodgers. Obviously, doesn't have the Super Bowls or anything of that sort, but what he's done every single year in and year out. He's going to win the MVP again this year. I've always put him in that conversation, and he went out and beat a team that looked damn near unbeatable in Green Bay. They made some costly mistakes at the end. The conversation about whether they should have kicked a field goal, Rodgers trying to fit in between a couple of defenders of Devontae Adams instead of taking a few yards and going for it on 4th. Some questionable ones there, but the Buccaneers come out and take a win. And Tom Brady is heading to his 10th Super Bowl, looking for his 7th title, right? His 7th ring?
Yep, last year was 6. Yep.
Man.
That's nuts. That's absolutely nuts.
Undoubtedly the GOAT now. Can't really talk about it anymore at this point.
I feel like Aaron Rodgers is just as good. I feel like Aaron Rodgers is on the same kind of situation Tom Brady was in New England. They can pretty much put anybody out there to catch the ball, and Aaron Rodgers is going to give him the ball. He's an unbelievable player.
Yep.
I feel like he's in the exact same Aaron Rodgers already said in his press conference that nothing is set in stone here. I mean, it's the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if they took Aaron Rodgers and stuck him on a halfway decent team like the Saints, for instance, that has weapons that can run the ball, that's a Super Bowl team right there.
Yep.
Like,
I mean, the Packers are a halfway decent team.
Devontae,
let's not get it. But he does not have the weapons.
They have a run game.
Yeah.
He has one receiver that is good.
Mm-hmm.
He's got the best wide receiver in the game right now, Devontae Adams. One of the best running backs in Aaron Jones. But is that O-line as good as some of the O-lines out there? I don't think so. I feel like the Saints has a freaking stellar line,
mm-hmm.
and he could sit back there and pick apart a defense.
Yep.
He's got a pretty smart mind on him, and he knows the game of football.
Defense
I think with the team change, he would
very
definitely
inconsistent in Green Bay.
Saints defense.
No,
I think
defense.
even the Saints' defense I think even the Saints' defense is a hit and miss sometimes. I feel like sometimes they just lights out and sometimes they give up a lot of points. You have to have a good offense to counter that defense. But
mm-hmm.
I think the defense in Green Bay is definitely a hit and miss, and Aaron has to do a lot of work to compensate for that defense. Kind of like it has to do with his.
Right. I had a conversation last week about a little bit. I kind of veered off in a little one about LeBron versus Jordan. People always talk about which one's the GOAT. And I've set in stone pretty much the conversation as LeBron James is the best player the NBA has seen, but I still put Michael Jordan as the GOAT. I think greatest and best are two different conversations, and that's how I'm starting to look at it with Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers. As of right now, I mean, Patrick Mahomes obviously is making a run for that here very soon. Very early. He's got a long way to go, but he's making
got a long way to
do
it. But
I mean,
sure.
I think Aaron Rodgers, talent-wise, is a far better quarterback than Tom Brady. Maybe not far better, but if I got to go out and make one throw or so, I mean, I want Aaron Rodgers, but Tom Brady's done it. I mean, he's going to his 10th Super Bowl. He might win his 7th.
He's proven.
As far as greatness, Aaron Rodgers doesn't compete in that. But in the best conversation, I think you have a little bit of an argument there. But
I would agree with that. Like, I mean, I don't really want to get into the whole basketball topic. That's what you covered last week. But it's just like you got to think of it. What was it? Wilt Chamberlain, who has like 13 rings. Or something
Bill
like that?
Russell.
Like,
Bill Russell.
Bill Russell. That's what it is. Yeah, it's like, I mean, how is that guy not even in the conversation? But then you look at the players he played against back in the day. It's like, who can compete with that kind of guy? You know?
Yeah, I mean,
it's like,
you put him in his prime against LeBron or Jordan, or getting smoked. Sorry, like he's getting smoked.
Right, and that's like kind of like the thing. It was like, it's hard to put players in certain eras against people now. It's like the team. I feel like sports in general has gotten way tougher because of the scouting. I mean, there's so many more resources now with the internet. People can pick players out that are like,
and there's so many different programs and stuff
like,
to get to be an athlete. Like there's so many. I mean, all kinds of different programs. I mean stuff people. I mean, people know how to diet now. I mean, somebody of Tom Brady. I mean, back in the day, nobody dieted back in the day. They were drinking beers at halftime. I mean, now they're properly dieting so that Tom Brady can actually play at the age he's playing at. I mean, it's an entirely different era.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's what I feel like is, I know he can because his pretty much Kobe was like the new-ish era of Michael Jordan, and obviously you've seen how that turned out.
Mm-hmm.
But does Jordan win that many? I don't think so. I don't think he would. I honestly think everybody has their own opinion, but I honestly think LeBron James is the GOAT of basketball.
I think Jordan
think he's
himself
the player.
Could play in this NBA. I think he had the talent to do it. His team, though, I mean, his team was built to win in the 80s.
That team is
in my opinion. Like,
that team's not winning that many chips.
A guy like, I mean, Bill Cartwright was their center. Nobody's got a Bill Cartwright in the NBA today that's winning games. I mean, you're not getting away with a average center that's going to get, just rebound basically. I mean, nobody's getting away with that nowadays.
Right. I think LeBron, I mean, you've seen it. He goes to pretty much any team and he wins. I just think he is the GOAT of basketball. I mean, you just take LeBron, he could go anywhere and I feel like he's winning. I just think he is the GOAT of basketball. I mean, Michael Jordan's a great player. Just, I don't think he is LeBron plays every position. He plays center, he plays power forward, he plays shooting guard, he plays point guard, he plays it all.
Mm-hmm.
And he's 36 years old.
Right.
The dude is legit.
Well, the reason I argue greatness and best differently is because, like, I just think about the impact Michael Jordan had on basketball. I mean, he basically created a brand in the middle of playing. I mean, I know LeBron's done great things too. I mean, he started a damn school in Ohio by himself. I mean, he's having mid-season documentaries. I mean, he's doing all this stuff. LeBron's done a phenomenal job. He's never had issues really off the court that a lot of very good players have had. But I don't know. To me, like, Jordan really got basketball started and put on the map around the world. I mean, the Jordan brand was created out of that. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, there's an argument for sure, but that's where I go greatest versus best.
So a little side tangent there. I think we should get back to the Chiefs. We got Tampa Bay out of the way.
Let me get to basketball.
How about talking about the GOATs, man? Or just talking about the greatest of all time.
Yeah. Our Super Bowl preview, we got the current GOAT versus somebody who could overtake him in 10, 15 years in Patrick Mahomes, who's starting a mini dynasty in the Chiefs, could become a big dynasty because he just signed a massive-ass deal. But, yeah, I mean, they're back playing for it. They're back playing for it again. Yeah, man. I mean,
he's starting early. He's starting real early.
Man, you want to talk about some teams that got some weapons. I mean, you got two great quarterbacks, Mahomes and Brady. You got, great receivers on both sides. I mean, guys like, Tyreek Hill and, tight end Travis Kelce over in Kansas City. You got, obviously, Mike Evans, Antonio Brown, Chris Godwin in Tampa Bay. It's going to be a very good game. Very good game. Both solid defenses as well. No team's really lacking in defense at all.
I think it's gonna come down to who can run the ball.
It very well could.
We got some I think both teams are working on pretty iffy running back situations.
Especially
you got
Kansas
Leonard
City.
Fournette and Rojo. And, yeah, you got,
what happened to
Clyde Edwards.
What happened to him?
I have no idea.
That dude looked like the steal of the draft to start the year. And he's just bum central right now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think it's going to come down to who can run the ball. Because it seems like it'd be a hit and miss for Tampa Bay. It seems like when they're firing on all cylinders and they're running the ball, their team's unbeatable.
Yep, for sure.
So I think it's either going to be a throwing, see who can throw the ball better and who can cover it, and
could be.
Or if one team decides that I'm going to run the ball today, I think they're going to run away with it.
I'll tell you what, if a team gets going running the ball with either of those two quarterbacks, I mean, geez, look out. But wow,
right.
Should be a great matchup. The last time Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes faced off in the playoffs was the AFC Championship game 3 years ago, right in that area. And it was one of the best games there was. Tom Brady coming back to win in overtime. Unbelievable game. And this will probably be one.
I think they played this year. I think it was like 27-24.
In the playoffs.
It was
in
a
the
very
playoffs,
good game.
I'm saying. The last time they played in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. This isn't playoffs anymore, buddy. This is the real deal here.
Well, yeah, this is the granddaddy. This is a Super Bowl. But
Right.
Yeah.
This is for all the biscuits,
So, let's make our picks, I guess. It's very tough because I didn't think Tampa Bay was going to be able to compete with the way Green Bay was rolling. They looked just fine. But that firepower of Kansas City. The thing with Kansas City, I looked at the box score after Kansas City's last game. There was, I forget how many completions, but it was Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill had like 22 total receptions, and then the next highest was like 4.
Right.
So where the ball's going, and Mahomes and Hill.
Right,
they're still finding the way to get it there. That's tough to beat.
Yeah.
But
yeah, for sure. Here's how I see it. I have not yet rooted against Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. Every time that he's played, I have never lost doubt that he was going to win. Even when they were down 3-28 against the Falcons, I knew my mom went to bed at halftime. It was a done deal. Everybody thought it was a done deal. I stayed up, and when they won, I never yelled so loud in my life. I've always been a Tom Brady guy. He's from Michigan. We're from Michigan. I represent 3 interceptions in the last game he played. If he tries that against the Chiefs defense, it's over.
Yep.
Even though I don't want to say this, rooting against Tom Brady because he's the GOAT, I think the Chiefs are going to win.
I agree. They have too much firepower. They're coming back with essentially, the same team as last year, if not better. I mean, they quietly went 14-2 this year. I talked about it a few weeks ago, but they quietly went 14-2, and they would have been 15-1 if they played everybody week 17. Because they lost by like one score, and Chad Henne played quarterback with no Hill, no Kelsey, nothing. So. Right,
yeah. I would have to say. Do you want to make score predictions? Who you think's going to win? I think Chiefs are going to win.
I'm curious. I'm going to go with
the spread. I'm going to go with Chiefs. Like 28-21. I think it's going to be within like a one-score game.
Okay. The spread right now, they're favoring Kansas City by 3 points. I'm curious what the over/under is because I feel like it's got to be relatively high. The over/under is 56.5 points total between the two teams. I guess isn't too crazy, but it's about 28 apiece. But
it's either going to come down to a field goal or it's going to come down to one score, and I think the Chiefs are going to be. They still got Harrison Butker, don't they?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I'm going to go Chiefs 28-21 or 25-20, 28. It's going to be real close. I feel like it's going to be a shootout. It could even be higher. I mean, those offenses are stacked. I mean, it could even be like a high-scoring game and just not a lot of defense played too.
Right.
But what do you think?
So I think we're in agreement that if either team wins, it wouldn't be a surprise because they're both stellar teams led by great quarterbacks and all that. So we don't think it's going to be a blowout, but I agree, man. The Chiefs are just – they're the new dogs. Again, wouldn't shock me if Tom Brady gets it done. I think it'll come down to a few big plays again in the fourth quarter. But I'm going to give it to the Chiefs. I think it's going to be high scoring. I'm thinking like 41-38, something in that range.
Whoa.
Like I think this is going to be a flat-out shootout. I guess last time we thought it was – I mean, we thought like a couple years ago, Rams and – Patriots was going to be a shootout, and that was like the most boring Super Bowl game of all time. It was like
wasn't it like 12 to or like 14-12 or something.
It was like 3-3 at halftime. It was horrible.
Oh god, it was terrible. The Super Bowl boards were just out the window.
Watch this be one of those games. Watch this be one of those games. That'd be tragic.
It could.
It
could though. I mean, it's a Super Bowl. No one knows what to expect. It's safeties and field goals and no one knows what to expect. It's a game where everything is coming out. The playbook's getting unleashed.
Yep.
It's throwing everything at it kind of thing. I mean, it's just going to be – I think it's going to be a really good game.
Yep.
I think it's going to be a great game.
I'm giving 41-38 to the Chiefs. I'm going all out with the high scoring. I'm hoping this is one of the greatest Super Bowls that we've seen because it's definitely in line to be. So, I mean, it should be a phenomenal game. Well, I think that's going to do it for the football. We covered the Lions. We covered the our final playoff stuff. Probably come back to that next week in a couple weeks when we have our Super Bowl champion. Seeing as we don't have a Pro Bowl this year. Darn.
Right. Oh no, they're doing that on Madden.
Oh, that's. Are they really?
Yeah, I think so. I think I saw like something on that they're gonna play Madden or something. Although like the players that got elected into the Pro Bowl are gonna play like Madden or something like that.
Isn't it crazy how like that is infinitely that's 10 times better than watching the actual Pro Bowl? I would rather watch these guys play Madden.
It's gonna be funny. They're gonna be well, I just saw. I think what was I doing? Was it an ad or was it on Instagram or something? I just saw like an ad of like Derrick Henry like taking his TV and like getting it just right, and then it was like Kyler Murray was like dusting off his computer monitors and stuff, and it was like. I just saw it. I don't know. Just before we started this podcast, I just saw it, and I thought that was quite funny. I was like,
"That's awesome."
I think it'd be really funny watching those guys compete in Madden. Just because didn't the basketball do that with 2K?
Yeah, I think during like quarantine when they couldn't play this is before the bubble, I believe they were playing 2K games online.
Right when they were playing 2K.
I think that's
right.
I think you're right, but.
I think that might be what they're doing this time, maybe? I'm not really sure.
Who knows? I'm far more interested in that than the Pro Bowl, but I mean that's cool. I didn't know they were doing that. But so getting into some crazy stuff with Microsoft, they pulled, or almost pulled, I should say, one of the most bizarre decisions I've ever seen. There was talk, they announced Friday morning that Xbox Live prices were going to be changing. Gaming prices are starting to change. Game prices are going up for some of these next-gen consoles. They haven't changed in a very long time, so wasn't too much of a shocker. But what was a shocker is by how much. Microsoft sneakily, is that a word? They removed 12-month memberships a while ago.
Whatever,
Yeah, They removed 12-month memberships a while ago, and they decided to change their prices. 12-month memberships on Xbox Live used to be $60. If you bought 1-month memberships or 3-month memberships, you were going to end up paying more in the long run. But if you were to buy a 1-year membership, you could get it for $60. $60 ended up being the new price for a 6-month membership. So essentially, to get a year of Xbox Live, again, after these price changes, it was going to be doubled to $120 per year. That was Microsoft's initial decision when they announced it Friday. And this sent a bunch of outrage, obviously, into the gaming community and Xbox fans and all that stuff. I guess on one bright side, I've been getting Ultimate for the last little bit. Those prices weren't going to change, so I guess that would have been the one plus. But, I mean, this would have been outrageous. And Charlie Intel talked about, because up until this point, Microsoft, if you wanted to play a free-to-play game, so something like Warzone or Fortnite, if you wanted to play that on Xbox, you had to buy gold to be able to play that online. That's not something you have to do on PC. That's not something you have to do on PlayStation either. And so essentially, if you wanted to just buy an Xbox and play Warzone, that's all you wanted to do, you had to buy the console and then $120 per year of Xbox Live just to play a free-to-play game. That was Microsoft's decision on Friday. Surprisingly, due to a lot of the backlash, well, not surprising that they changed it, but because of a lot of the backlash, they ended up retracting that, and now they're adding the ability to play free-to-play games without an Xbox Live Gold membership, which is a good move. So things ended up getting better in the long run. Microsoft retracted what they were originally going to do. We were talking about this because I was getting ready to have you on the pod. We were going to let loose because, this was the most ridiculous decision I had ever heard in my life. I was mind blown.
It was awful. I was sitting at work, we had a little slow period, so I, popped out the old phone and I was scrolling and on Twitter and I saw that they were changing it and I was like, what on God's green earth are they doing? I was like, I've already been talking about switching to PC. It's been a little something I've been considering for a while now, even though I just bought that brand new Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
When I saw it was going to switch to $60 for 6 months?
6 months. So $120 a year.
Literally was like $120. I was like, shoot, that is like, in all honesty, that is like half a price of a good processor for a computer. I was like, if I'm going to spend that kind of money yearly, I might as well join Steam. It's free. I can play whatever I want and have a beast computer that blows console out of the water as it is and play, Warzone if I want, Mm-hmm. I was just outraged. I did read also that they were talking about not switching. So if you already were like a previous member, it wasn't going to change your price.
But at what point was it going? It was going to at some point though, right? Like,
you're right. For sure, it was 100% going to switch. Even though we were pre-existing members, I was just like, how long is it going to take before they change it to where the previous members that are already like set into their reoccurring billing going to switch that price? To start off the whole thing, I was already pretty upset that I have to pay more for Ultimate. Just think, when the whole new Xbox dropped here, they don't make Xbox Live no more. You have to buy Ultimate. So I was already pretty upset about that. I could not buy.
You can't buy a year.
On my Xbox,
you can't buy yearly. You can buy.
I can't buy a year. I thought right. That's what I was upset about. I couldn't buy a year of Xbox. That's how I've always done it since I've won my Xbox. Is buy a year of Xbox for $60.
Yep.
I was already pretty upset that I got to spend $15 for Ultimate and Game Pass. And for those of you who know me, I have terrible internet. So Ultimate doesn't benefit me because it takes me 3 days to download the game. So it's like I never would pay the extra money to have all these games at my access because it doesn't benefit me, because if I want to play the game, it's going to take me 3 days to download it.
Right.
And then after I don't like the game, I just waste it. And then whatever it was for the subscription, and then I would cancel my subscription. So to have all those games was not something that I needed. That's why I was pretty upset about that whole switch to the Ultimate. Well, I've been paying it for a couple months now. It hasn't really bothered me. It comes right out of the old checking. So, but honestly, I think the move that they did of letting you play free games without Xbox Live is phenomenal. And retracting their, I'm going to make you pay $120 for, your Ultimate is a lot better than it was.
Right.
But in all reality, I think the move was good. Although I still think in the end, I think moving to PC is where I'm going to end up anyway.
At some point? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't have to change it back. I mean, they could have just said F you and whatever. But it was so weird anyway, because they've been so consumer-friendly for like the last number of years now. I mean, Game Pass is the most consumer-friendly thing. Even though it may not be something for you, it's one of the most consumer-friendly things that there is for gamers. $10 a month and you get a massive list of games. EA Play is included in that now, so whatever gets put on there is included with Game Pass subscription now. Like it's one of the great things. They were all over Twitter memeing their own console when people were talking about the fridge and the frying pan and the drive-through speaker. I mean, they were all over that. They've been really consumer-friendly for a while. So for this decision, it was like, what happened? where did you come through and think that this was a good idea to throw this in? But they listened. They took it. They listened to the feedback and they said we're not doing that. So
I'm just glad they just decided to do that. I mean, if that wasn't, I was honestly going to cancel my membership and start building my PC within like a couple of weeks, because I was like, there's no way I'm going to pay that kind of money.
Yeah,
I was like, that is totally shafting the community for sure.
But getting back to the PC thing, you were talking about, playing games on Steam and you don't have to pay for a membership or anything on that. You want to know the wild thing? So you might, I don't know if you know this or not, but you can play, like, you can basically run an Xbox through a PC. Like, you can use Xbox's software, all that stuff on PC with, like, their Windows 10 Xbox partnering program and stuff. You know how much you have to pay for an online membership to play on PC with Xbox?
$0.
Not a fucking thing.
Yep. Yeah, I forgot what it's called. I think it's called Xbox Companion app. I think is what it's called.
Well, yeah.
It's like where you can link the two together.
Yeah, and you can play Xbox stuff on there. You can use their party chat system.
Yeah, all your information goes right over. Like all your friends list, all your everything you have on there links right over to your Steam.
So it's bizarre enough that console people pay for it and the PC people that use it don't. But they were going to double the price on the console and still have it cost nothing on the PC? I'm like, what in the world? I know you and I have had conversations about going to PC and whatnot, and it's obviously something you look into. I mean, as much as we play games and all that kind of stuff, I mean, PC is statistically, 100% factually the best home for gaming. You get the best performance, you get the most games, all that stuff. There's your one-off exclusives and whatnot and whatever, but...
Right.
I don't know. It's a weird...
The big thing is, I think this scares a lot of people away, is the price tag. I think that's where like your basic console. I mean, if you don't have to have your Xbox Series X that just came out, that was $500. A lot of people are like, wow, that's a lot of money, Right. I mean, you can go buy the regular Xboxes for $299 or $399 or whatever they are, and it's like you can get your gaming experience for half the price, and you don't got to have all these special things. But if you're a true gamer, if you're a straight up true gamer, you love games. I mean, PC is where it's at. I mean, yeah, it's going to cost you like you can do it. You can do it for cheaper than
right.
$1,000, but you're not going to have a machine that's going to power you for what you need. You spend $1,000 on a PC, you're in the ballpark of having a pretty good PC. That's 2 Xboxes if you look at it as a console perspective. But like I said, you don't have to pay for your online subscriptions. There's so many games you can buy. You can play with your controller on most games. It's the move. I think in a few years that's where everybody's going to be heading, is PC. It's already starting to get big now. Yep. With the COD League, we're going to talk about that here in a little bit. Yep. Switching, and I just think that's going to be the move. A lot of the pro scenes are going to be switching to PC. I just think I think eventually the exclusives will move. I think they will. I think there's a lot of money to be made, and I don't know. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, imagine Microsoft getting bigger into the PC move, and they can start getting some some PC exclusive type stuff. That could be big as well. I mean, they're definitely closer to that market than Sony is, so that could be something big they could work on.
I mean, you got to think that the big Halo Infinite. I mean, that's going PC and Xbox. I mean, that's already an Xbox exclusive. I mean, that's headed to PC as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I think more of that kind of stuff is going to be definitely happening in the near future here.
Yeah,
especially with the way the gaming industry is going right now.
Right. My thing recent with PCs is if you were to look at it a year ago, it was pretty much a no-brainer. With the consoles and the power and the stuff they had, like PC blew it out of the water, was not even a competition. It was basically like playing on a original Xbox compared to an Xbox One or whatever. My thing is now is with the next gen consoles, the power they have, and they have power.
Oh, for sure.
To the point of some massive PCs, no. I mean, you just can't be done. Not for the price tag that they have it. But I mean, these new consoles have power.
Okay, let's not get carried away. The new Xboxes, they run. I'm not even gonna lie. I have one. It runs real good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's better than a computer over $1,000 though. I don't. For $1,200, you can get a faster running PC than your Xbox. But you gotta look at it this way too. It is better, but it's double the price.
Right.
So if you're looking for an overall experience, if you're just a casual gamer, you're looking to have fun after work, a couple buddies drink some beers, you hop on the old Xbox, you're gonna run efficiently and professionally as the standards go.
Mm-hmm.
If you're looking to just overall the experience, I mean you take it every night kind of thing, or you just love it, you're big into your frames, you get into 4Ks, it's no brainer to go to X. If you have the extra money, for sure PC. I just think
right.
I just think it's the way to go. I don't even have a PC. I have a Mac. I started playing a couple games with the guys at work. I think it's fun. I think there's a lot of games that are not offered on Xbox, on PC that I like to play. The controls will mess you up for a little bit, but I think it's where it's at.
Yeah, I think my thing with the next gen consoles is a big attraction for gamers to play on PC as opposed to a console. A lot of that stuff is frames, resolution, stuff like extra HD textures and ray tracing. That attracts a lot of gamers, getting some of that next level performance, getting above that 60 frame mark and all that stuff. The thing that's been tough is with the next gen consoles is they offer, not in every game, but they offer that. I mean, looking at Call of Duty, let's take Black Ops Cold War for example. You can run that game if you have a Series X or a PlayStation 5. You can run that game in 120 frames with ray tracing, HD textures, all that stuff. Will it be maybe to the exquisite perfection of detail maybe that some PCs can get? Probably not. But I mean, if you're somebody who's like, I want to get above 60 frames, you don't have to look at a PC anymore to do that. And I mean, I think even most PC players will argue that going beyond 120 frames isn't that necessary. Like, you notice a big difference between 30 and 60. You notice a pretty solid difference between 60 and 120. After that, I mean, the human eye can only see so much. So, I mean, going past 120 frames, how worth it is it? And since the consoles can do it now, I don't know. I mean, you can play flawless 4K 60. With some certain monitors, you're able to do 4K 120 if you have some of those HDMI 2.1 compatible screens or whatever. That's just my only thing, is like the consoles for this generation they've caught up for now. I mean, PC is not going to stop evolving. There's going to be much better tech that continues to come out. But for right now, I feel like the consoles they're caught up. They're not to the highest level that some, big PCs can get, but I feel like they're in the game now for the most part.
For sure. I definitely would agree with that. I said the only thing that I seen that was like a little bit different was you don't have to buy a new console every 2 years kind of thing. I mean, I don't know, it takes Xbox every 5 years it seems to be for a new console.
Yeah, well,
Is
I
that
mean,
kind of
the
kind of
new
how
generations, like
like the mega ones, right?
every
So they're
7,
not gonna
every 7, but they always do the pro consoles. I mean, we had the Xbox One, then the One X, and they evolve the consoles over
right,
every few years. So
right, which helps a little bit. I mean, I'm sure they're not putting like faster, more expensive parts in them because they're gonna try to keep the price down.
hmm
So the only benefit I think with PC is, you got your 500 and some odd dollars was this console. You can't open that up and put something more powerful in it. Like I was playing on the first gen Xbox until I just got this one. It took me. I bought that when I was a eighth grader, you know, and eighth grade, ninth grade year ish, and I had that all the way up until this year, and you could tell the difference as soon as I got on there. It was like the inside components were so much better. Where PC, every 2 years you can upgrade a certain part for 3, 4, $500, and you don't have to wait 7 years to have that power consistently. Where if say you buy the console now, you got to wait another 7 years until you can get caught back up. They make their parts, last until about 7 or so years. But the way the quality is nowadays, they're gonna make these games more powerful. And before too long, even though this is a beast console, I just don't think it's gonna be able to keep up with the way well, I'm in a gaming community, but the gaming development is gonna be. Where on PC, you just pop the case open, you take out the part that's no longer useful, sell it, make a lot of money back because some person's going to definitely want that high quality part.
Mhm.
The ports don't go bad. You just want to upgrade where you can sell that part and put the brand new one in there, and you're good to go. You don't have to wait 7 years. You can wait 3 days if you really want to, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think that's where PC has a big jump on everything because you can upgrade your RAM if it's you're running a little slow. You can get a bigger video card, bigger processor without having to buy a whole new console and wait for the developers to come out with a new console. You could just get on Newegg or Amazon and order yourself a new part and
Yep.
throw it in and have your right back firing like day one.
Yeah, definitely one thing that sucks when you get toward the end of the console generation life cycle is these games get bigger. They evolve them over time. Like, I mean, we don't really have anything yet right now that's testing the power of the Series X and the PS5. Like, the devs haven't gotten quite that far yet. But I mean, it's going to be coming very soon, next year or so. I mean, we're going to be getting some stuff that's going to start pushing that power and really using it. But 6 years from now, let's say the new Xbox comes out in 2027. I mean, by 2025, 2026, I mean, we're going to be. I mean, some games just like. The consoles that we have now are not going to be able to run those games as well as they as well as they were designed to be. I mean, we take a look at something like Modern Warfare. I mean, even if you played it on like a base Xbox One like you did, I mean, it still looked good. It still played okay, but you didn't know what you were missing was the problem. When you played that thing on the Series X, you were like, wait, this is how this is supposed to be played? And even someone like me who came from a One X, I was blown away by it. I can only imagine what it was like coming from a pretty much day one Xbox One to switch to that. I mean, that's insane.
Oh, it was incredible. I mean, it was a consistent lag. Like, I thought it was lag. I mean, there was I kept getting these little frame rate bars in the corner of my screen. And I kept telling them I was like, dude, I'm just lagging. I'm lagging. And they always got tired of hearing it. It's just like, dude, I mean, it's just like unplayable. I wouldn't have any fun. I got to the point where I didn't even like playing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got the new Xbox, and it was like I was running around. I was like, I wasn't skipping, I wasn't lagging. I was like, what happened? Like, what's the difference? Then you realize it was your frame rate the entire time. And I mean, I get the occasional lag. I still lag.
Yeah.
I mean, I still lag. Let's not get carried away. I still lag, but the frame rate was there. I mean, I didn't have to worry about the frames. The frames were there, and it wasn't like running in like slow motion. I was like running, and I was like, it actually compete with, what I was trying to do.
Right.
It was just. I can only imagine the jump from console to PC. I mean, I can only imagine the difference.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I mean, I could never run Warzone in a smooth 60 on the One X. It looked good. It played fine. But I just always assumed, like, with a Battle Royale, a map that huge, 150 players, like, I'm never going to get a smooth 60. I pop on Warzone on the Series X. I have yet to drop a frame. I've had the thing for 2 months. I haven't dropped a single frame on Warzone. It's beautiful. It's pure straight 60. I know you PC heads got 120. I get it. Some of you that turn your graphics down.
I got 244.
Well, yeah, some of you that turn your graphics down probably got 300 at this point, but it's mind. You there's problems you realize that were on your old thing that you didn't know were problems. You just thought that's how it was. Like, It's crazy.
I just thought it was a normal day in the old Orton household here. But
we're over here cussing out Joe Seacott, like, fix your game, do this, and he's like,
and
bro,
turns out it's just my
get something that can run it.
Right. Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Jeez, but yeah, a little PC Xbox tangent. Bottom line, thank God they're not increasing their prices, and we don't have to rush and find better options to save money in the long term. Because, yikes! But yeah, I mean, PCs I think are definitely something that I'm definitely going to look into over the next couple of years. I'm not going to rush out and get one. I got a great new console, but I mean, if the right opportunity comes, or if they put out a really good game on PC that I know you've been playing Rust. Not my type of game. Not something I'm gonna go out and not something I'm gonna go out and get something to run it for. But or even Valorant. I've watched Valorant. I don't really get the hype in that game. But maybe if something comes out for it that I need it, brother. But maybe
it's all about the gold rush.
Yeah. But anyway, let's move into our final stuff in the day. We had the CDL, the Call of Duty League kickoff this past weekend. Our first look at the Call of Duty League teams in the brand new game in Black Ops Cold War. All 12 teams played. The matchups were voted for by fans on Twitter. We had some really good matchups. You and I are both definitely fans of the Call of Duty League. We love watching it. We love watching the pros compete. It's fun. It's a great time every single year. And we got my dog's barking. FedEx guy must finally be here.
All right.
But anyway, we got our first look at the CDL teams this past week. We started off on Saturday. We had Dallas and New York. Then we had the Guerrillas taking on the Surge, and then our final matchup for Saturday was FaZe versus the Mutineers. Not very good matchup. I take that back. Seattle and the Guerrillas was close. It was a close match.
Seattle and Guerrillas was actually a pretty good match.
But I mean,
the Atlanta FaZe and Mutineers, that was actually not a bad showing. I was kind of surprised on the outcome.
Right.
But I think the only terrible matchup of Saturday was that god awful Dallas New York subliners.
We'll take it match by match. Empire subliners, I mean, they're not even on the same level. I mean, it was tough to get a good look at Empire because we wanted to see how they were going to bounce back. No Clay, going back to 4v4. Obviously, some great guys in Hook, Illy, and Shotzi. But I mean, we don't even get to see really how good they are. I mean, they played a New York team who just lost Zuma because he retired. Getting in guys like ASIM and Diamond Con. I mean, that team's going to struggle unless they can get some big guy out of the challengers that can really help them or something. I mean, they're going to struggle, and they look like they were going to be a decent middle of the pack team beforehand, but not anymore. I mean, they're heading right toward the bottom with the loss of Zuma and stuff, and so I mean that was a terrible matchup.
Yeah. I was very disappointed. I thought, even on paper, it doesn't look awful. I mean, ASIM wasn't an awful player. He played decent last year for the Rocker. But, with Clay, I mean, he's getting up there in age, but he was pretty dominant last year as an AR on the Empire team there.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got Mac, who come out of the Challengers last year and just absolutely shredded on Modern Warfare. You got to think you got to put those three together. You think it was going to be all right. And Diamond Con actually didn't really have that bad of a series.
Mm-hmm.
I just think as a whole, they need to start meshing more. I know it was kind of rushed throwing ASIM, which was a bench player, and Diamond Con coming out of the Challengers and kind of got thrown into the mix there for that first week, wondering how good that is actually going to be as a team. I think they just need to play a couple bit and see how that's going to go. But I definitely think they're going to have to upgrade somewhere along the line. In my opinion, they're going to need another strong sub. I think they need another strong sub. Mac didn't impress me like he did last year. I know it's the first week.
Right.
But ASIM, I think, did better than Mac, and that honestly surprised me.
Yeah.
But just as an overall, I was very disappointed. I mean, Shotzi and Illy and Hook ran over.
Having a field day.
Oh God, it was just embarrassing.
But we'll have to see. We'll have to see how good Empire really is going forward as they play some of the more competitive teams. I mean, in New York could bounce back. I mean, they had very little practice with the team they had. And we'll see who they can pick up. Guerrillas and Surge, interesting matchup. I feel like a pretty evenly matched one. Was hoping for a little bit more out of the Surge, but Just didn't quite get it.
The
Unfortunately,
Surge won. The Surge won though.
Yeah, I don't know. I expected more though. I don't know. I feel like they finally had a good.
Honestly, I didn't.
I mean,
honestly, I didn't. I didn't. I expected that match to go kind of how it did. Honestly, if you look at it last year,
Gorillas have a
3
solid
players
team
from the okay. This is how I see it. Last year, the Rocker looked pretty good off the rip. They had, Silly Assault and what's the other one? Silly Assault. What's his name?
Alex.
Oh, no.
Alex, Asim, Silly, Assault, Gotter X.
Okay, maybe it was only 2 that came from the Rocker then, didn't it? I thought there was one more. I'm trying to think of the Gorillas roundup. I think it's Silly Assault, Apathy, and I can't think of the last person. I'm drawing a blank. I cannot think of who that is.
Oof, yeah. Who is the last guy?
Oh, he played for the what's his name? Vivid. His name's Vivid. Vivid.
There you go.
I that's why I was drawing a blank, because he was kind of like that rookie last year kind of thing. Yep. Honestly, this is how I see it. The Surge, you have one of the best ARs in the game, Octane. Gunless, he's good, hard to play with. He's kind of arrogant and wants to win. Pristini, I think, is got to learn to slow down a little bit and not just go balls to the wall. And then they got who is it? Looney,
yep.
Is damn near 30, and I just don't think his gun skill is there anymore. Honestly, I still think those 2 are going to be. They were the 12th and 11th place teams last year. I feel like they're going to probably be down in that range again. I don't think their teams are stellar. I don't. I don't think they have powerful enough submachine gun players to compete with the Hooks, the Shotsies, the Simps, the Abezies, the Envoys. They just.
Yeah, I didn't expect them to be a top 3, top 4 team, but
no, I feel like they're going to be down in that 9-10 range. They're going to be down toward the bottom. Like I said, I figured it was going to be a close game. I feel like they're both kind of on the same skill level, but
I just kind of looked at it as a potential standpoint. I mean, they got Octane, who's best AR in the game, and you get some guys that he vibes with and he's played with before. Guys like Gunless and Looney. I don't know. I guess I just thought I was going to see a little bit more, and they just look like they struggled at times. But I mean, Gorillas is not the dog shit team they were last year. I mean, they've got some guys now that can play. But like I said, I think looking at it now, yeah, that was a pretty even matchup. I guess I just didn't expect it to be as even and as close as it was. But we'll get into our last matchup.
They did win a search and destroy, though.
They did.
They did win a search and destroy.
They did. Not something they could do last year. But let's get into our last matchup.
I think they won 2 of them.
Did they? Yeah.
They did.
Yeah.
They had to have.
Yeah.
They did. They
won
2 of them.
because it went to game 5. Yeah, man.
Yeah. Whew.
They can get their respawns figured out. But our last matchup, FaZe and Mutineers. Man, people overlooked Mutineers last year, and I think they might have done it again coming into the season. They look pretty freaking good. Skies is back with a vengeance. Neptune, the rookie, can play. Looking to...
For now.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. But this is just the kickoff. This is basically a high-tier scrim. But Florida's going to be competing in that middle of the pack. Maybe not consistently with FaZe and Empire and Optic necessarily, but I think they're going to be in that middle of the pack run with teams like Thieves and Seattle and Gorillas if they get it figured out.
We'll get into Thieves early. We'll get into Thieves later, but
they're coming out.
I think looking at how things went, I don't think you can put Florida below top 3.
Really?
I don't think you can.
So who's your top 3? I mean, Optic, Florida, and then Empire.
Of how things went, you cannot put Empire first. You can't. They won champs last year. They came out. They wiped Subliners very quickly. Until proven, they're number 1.
I would agree
number
with
2, Optic. They literally shredded the Thieves in a 3-0. People thought that was going to be a 3-2 game all day long. I don't think you can put them any lower than 2 at this point, and FaZe disappointed me. You take Arcides, which was a top 5 player last year, and you put him in a role where Major Maniac is not one of the best ARs in the game. He does what he was told to do, and he shoots straight. But you put one of the best ARs on a team with
guys that just fly around the map and
with
shred.
that kind of caliber of young guns with
Yeah.
Celium, Abizi, and Simp, and you don't shred in a 3-1 to 3-0 manner like that. Yeah, Mutinies are good, but you upgraded your AR times probably 5.
Yeah,
and there's no reason that you shouldn't have won that match. It was a 3-2. And like I said, I like FaZe. One of the teams I root for, Optic and FaZe, are the teams I root for. It was just I was very disappointed in that. I was super disappointed in that gameplay at all. I don't think FaZe is a top 3 right now. I think they have something to work on, or that was just a bad day or something. But
could have been.
I don't think you can put Florida below top 3.
Yeah, I mean, this is a high-tier scrim.
From that event.
Yeah, this is a high-tier scrim, essentially. This doesn't count. This is no CDL points. This isn't a major. This isn't champs or whatever. But, I mean, again, just like last year, we came out with FaZe coming into this year thinking, who's going to touch these guys? I mean, they kept their core 3 in Simp, Abizi, and Celium, who shred everybody. They're all very good at flying. I mean, Simp and Abizi fly around the map. And, I mean, Celium plays whatever role you need him to be. He's a stud there. Was MVP caliber throughout all last year. And then you had Arcides, who easily one of the top ARs in the game, like you said, just one of the top players, let alone last year. And, I mean, they come out against a Florida team who's got some shakeups, bringing in a rookie like Neptune. And, I mean, they just struggle. I mean, Florida looked better.
The week before the event. They literally brought him in. They dropped Havoc within a week of the event, and then they destroyed them.
I mean, that's...
Like, you would think they'd be in the subliner situation where they're not winning. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I didn't expect... I mean, I expected a Florida to be competitive. I didn't expect them to get the floor wiped with them. Like, even if they lost 3-0, I expected at least a competitive 3-0. But, I mean, they just looked like the flat-out better team. I was shocked, to say the least. But, I mean, wow.
It was a very, very disappointing.
Yeah. All right, well, let's get into our Sunday matchups here. We're over the hour mark. Let's knock out these last 3 matchups here real quick. We got Paris and London Royal Ravens, the Battle of Europe. I didn't watch this one too much. Not really a couple of teams that I look out for, but go ahead and give me the rundown, really, of what you saw from this.
Well, I watched it, then I went and made pizza rolls. But I mean, from what I did watch, Paris, wow, that team shocked me. When they made the London Royal Ravens team, I was shocked on what they did. That team is going to be a dumpster fire. There's already talks of Parasite going in that team already. After week 1, they're already talking about making a roster change to that team.
Yep.
Paris was one of the last teams to make a team, and that team actually surprised me. They got kind of tossed together, but it's working. Now, how well is it going to work? They played the Ravens. That team looked very, very bad, but I don't think they're going to be a bottom team. I think they're going to be around that 9, 10, 8 spot. I was just very impressed on how well they played. Like I said, I watched like the first match and a half, and then I went to go make food. But that it's not a team that I usually watch. I'm not really big into the whole EU side of the Call of Duty scene, but
yeah.
I feel like the Ravens messed up by not getting Waskins as their main AR, and they kept Shawnee. That man had average like a 1.3 last year overall in every game mode, and he's not even on a CDL team. Something I would love to know why he's not on a team. I know it's all behind the scenes, but there's something.
Yeah, it's definitely not something that comes down to stats for him by any means. But I'm not too big in either of these teams. I knew London didn't really have a great roster. They definitely could have had a lot better. I knew Paris's was kind of thrown together. Paris is not going to be one of the top teams of the year, but I mean, they showed the potential that they can work out to be one of the top of the bottom, if that makes sense. And maybe if they get enough going and another team falls and whatever, maybe make it into a top 8 spot to vie for the playoffs. But I'm not buying it, but they could. I mean, Fire looked solid.
You know, who was all on that team? I kind of forgot who was all on the team. They got Scraps, Fire. I totally forgot who was on that team.
Hydra's not on that team, is he?
No, that's New York. That's one of New York's players. So they start off with like a visa issue.
Let me look. I'm not too familiar because, I mean, it was thrown together last.
Classic, I think.
Yeah, Aqua, Classic, Fire, and Scraps is their team. So,
dude, Aqua. Oh my! Did you not watch that?
I did not get. That was the match I missed. So. But yeah, I did.
He
I
had
did
like a
1.3.
The dude went on a tear on the hard point that I watched.
They could be a shocking roster. Definitely one to look out for.
Well, Aqua has been a good AR for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
He played for the Gorillas last year. Terrible team, but I don't know.
Yeah. Well, let's get into our second Sunday matchup. We got Toronto and Minnesota, the Battle of the North. Was a very good series. I feel like this one was kind of similar to the Gorillas and the Surge, a very even matchup. Two teams that are, fairly similar. Toronto was one of the. I mean, they made a nice little bounce back at the end of last year, but they had so many roster changes, so many different moves. They were never really considered a great team, but I mean, a solid roster this year. They look like they've played pretty well so far in Cold War, and I mean, Minnesota obviously revamped their entire roster from last year. Getting guys like Priesta and Accuracy and Attach.
Yeah, they didn't keep anybody. Yeah, they didn't keep anybody.
They wiped their whole team. But not. I mean, a very good match. It looked like I feel like Rockers should have had it a little. I mean, they choked the first hard point. Ended up winning. Let me recount this. So went to game. So they lost. They lost the first hard point. I believe they won the search.
I don't think I watched this match.
I'm trying to recount it. They won. I know they lost the first hard point and they should have had it. And then whatever other one they lost, I believe it was the control. The control of the second hard point. I mean, it was right there. It definitely was not a series that Toronto should have easily won. I mean, Minnesota, if anybody, could have easily won that very quickly with the right moves. And I think they're a roster to look out for. I think they'll be middle of the pack. Maybe can make a higher up push. But it was a very close matchup. Very good to watch. I mean, it was very entertaining. Went down to the final. I think it went to Game 5, Round 11, if I'm not mistaken.
It did. Yep.
I think it came down to the final round in search. Minnesota ended up taking it, so I mean, it could have went either way, but a little bit of a disappointing showing out of Minnesota. And I think Toronto is a team that can play. With all the teams this year, there's not a team I look at and go, they shouldn't compete, except for maybe New York right now, just because they're struggling. But Minnesota, I think, will bounce back and be a better team.
I feel like the Toronto Rocker is going to be your 6-7 spot.
Could be. Yep, I could see it.
Yeah,
but a solid matchup for sure. And then we had our primetime Big Daddy matchup, or so we thought, going into Sunday night. We want the by far the biggest interest out of the fans, but a match that was over very, very quickly. Optic and LA Thieves. The Chicago Huntsmen are now the Optic Chicago.
Yep.
And 100 Thieves are coming back into the mix in Call of Duty. Have not been in since Black Ops 4. They missed out last year, but they're now taking the OGLA spot. They're the LA Thieves. And a prime-time, big-time matchup. One that, two of the bigger fan bases with Thieves and Optic coming together. And it was not a good match if you are an LA Thieves fan. Holy hell. That was an absolute dumpster fire of a performance. I don't even know that Thieves played as bad as much as Optic just played that good. They look insane.
if you look at the games in general, they were, besides that first hard point, they were decently close. I think the search and destroy was like a 6-3 or 6-4 or something along those lines.
The control was
that control came down to like the last second.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they were already
control rounds were very close, like coming down to the lives. But
right, you got to win three games with the control to win.
Right.
They didn't drop a control round,
but they were all very close.
Right. So how bad is the Thieves? I don't know, but I think maybe Temp needs to change his hair color back to what it's supposed to be, and they might do better. I think that's the problem. Yeah, the red hair is not doing it.
I don't know, dude. I mean, Optic made it look very easy. I don't see a weakness on that team, to be honest with you.
Right now, no.
I mean,
I watch scrims. I watch eights and stuff. I don't know if you watch that, but Dashy literally dropped 67 kills in a Pro 8 match. And if you put 9k damage together, that's 60 actual kills. Yep. So 7 kills were assisted in that entire game. Right. He was literally an animal.
I mean, the way I look at it is Formal's always been a very consistent AR. I don't think he's at the top anymore, just with guys like Octane and Arcides. I mean, I don't think you can.
Yes, he is. They're already talking. He's Texas Formal, baby. H for F, baby.
I'm not going to count him out, but I would give the edge to a couple of those guys. But Formal has always been very good at the top of his game, always very consistent. Scump he's been the king. He's been a very good player. How much of an impact he's made, at least in the stat sheet, kind of varies. I mean, people have said he's costed this big match or that big match, but he looks very good in Cold War. He looked very good against the Thieves, making big-time plays. Envoy's Envoy. Came out. I mean, he started that control 11-0. He's a stud. He's the flank master. He's a mastermind on the map. He's got the gun skill. And then, I mean, Dashy, finally back with a team and people that he likes to play with. His talent there's no question about how good he is, and he's back on a Treyarch game, and he looks very comfortable with it. I don't see a weakness on this team, and they're all vibing together very well. They've all talked about how they can't get enough of each other. They love hanging out. There's been no big arguments, at least that we know of so far. But, I mean, it seems like they're all vibing well, and they're all extremely good talents that love playing together. What are you going to do when that happens? I mean,
hope to God their vibes die.
You have to.
That's all. I mean, that's all.
You have to hope for a bad day. And, I mean, a lot of times last year with the immediate rush to move things to online, I mean, you had server things as well, but they're all in Texas. Yeah, look out. This team is nutty. Probably one of the better Optic teams, at least coming right out of the gate. I mean, could end up being one of the better Optic teams that have existed in a while. I mean, they are nasty. Again, we're going to have to wait and see how good Empire is in this game. It was really I mean, like I said, I give it to you. They're the number one. They won last year. They came out. They wiped the floor with New York. Wasn't even a close match. They're the number one until further notice.
Proven. Right. And I'm not even saying that they're out. They are the number one. But until proven, you can't say that they're not, is where I was at.
Right.
You can't say that they're not until they've been beaten.
Right. But I would like them to play against a FaZe, an Optic, even maybe I don't think Thieves are as bad as they looked. Florida, exactly. One of those teams. Just
right.
A team that is prepared. Is New York really that bad? I don't know, but they definitely weren't prepared. And I'd like to see how well they play. But Optic is not. I don't see weaknesses right now in this roster, in any stretch.
No, I think the difference between this year and last year is Scump. In all honesty, not even saying that Arcides is anything. I mean, Arcides just used to run on that AR role. He did very well as a submachine gun player for playing a man AR for forever. I think this year Scump is the deal breaker of this team. If Scump's firing on all cylinders, that team is unbeatable with Dashy, Formal, and Envoy. I think that team, that core three, is very good. Now, if Scump keeps playing the way he does, that's going to be a team to beat, I feel.
I mean, yeah. I agree. I think Scump is the one question mark, because I think everyone else has full-on proven that they are still at the top of their game. And not that Scump isn't, but, I mean, you just look at other guys.
Right.
You just look at guys like Simp and those guys who are far and above some of the best players in the
18,
game.
19, 20 years old.
And if Scump can fry along, like if he can compete with those guys, I mean, that's good. To me, it's even if Scump was to suck this year, Optic is going to be a top half team. But I think how far Optic can go, their ceiling, is depending on Scump. And if he plays like he has been, and if he is at the top and one of the top subs in the game, I mean, this team can very easily win many events, win champs, and be one of the best teams. If all that works out, obviously there's a long year ahead. They're playing this thing through July before we even get into playoffs. There's a long way to go. Things are going to happen. Moves are going to be made. There might be a switch to LAN somewhere through here early in the summer. Who knows? But this team looks so nasty. It's exciting. They look really
I'm
good.
Excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
But it looks like a very good year of CDL is going to happen regardless. Looks like we're going to get some very good matches. I don't know if you saw the match list the other day that Call of Duty League tweeted out, but I mean, there's matches every single week starting February 11th through July 19th. 6 months, every weekend, there's Call of Duty League matches. It's going to be exciting. And the teams look like they're going to be competitive. Like I said, there's not one team that jumped out to me and said they don't belong in this league. And this is a very fun to watch competitive game.
New York did.
I know, but I
feel like at this point Wester could replace subliners no problem.
They could, but I mean,
easy.
I want to give New York time. I don't want to say they suck because they lost a great sub and a great player in Zuma and had to throw together a roster that didn't have practice. I don't want to pin that on them yet. I'll give them time in that, but.
Well, technically they lost 2 good subs because Hydra, I think, is supposed to be a sub as well.
Yeah. Yep. True.
So technically they're out with 2 starting submachine gun players.
Mm-hmm. But
or maybe not. Maybe Hydra's a flex, but regardless, you're out 2 of your starters that were supposed to be on your team in Hydra and Zuma.
Yeah.
And you're pretty much left with Clay and Mac.
Right.
So.
But I mean, it definitely looks like it's going to be a fun year of Call of Duty to watch. We have a very good competitive game in Cold War. We got control back instead of domination from last year. We got 4v4 back. They're playing on PC. We've got better servers, all this stuff. So it looks like it's definitely going to be a fun year of the CDL, and we'll have to wait to see if we get back to LAN at some point, even if we can't allow fans. It would just be a better experience for the players overall. But I think that's where we're going to start to close things out. We covered everything. We had a long pod, a good discussion. Orton, any final words before we sign off here from the pod?
I don't know. I'd be happy to come back if you allow me to. I think this is
absolutely,
pretty fun.
Dude.
We usually have a couple
on.
Of these. Oh, for sure. I mean, we always usually have these around at 2 a.m. instead of 5:30 p.m. So
Orton and
our little chit chats a little earlier in the night. It never hurt anything, you know.
Yeah. Orton and I have talked about for a long time. We might as well start a freaking podcast because we always end up playing, hopping online and playing a game for an hour, and then we sit in a COD lobby and talk about whatever for 3 hours. It seems like until we realize we need to go to bed or whatever. Yeah. So. Definitely more of these discussions to come. Orton will definitely be back on the pod in future episodes for sure. Appreciate him coming on. Again, for those of you guys that are watching the podcast over on YouTube, smack the Schmidt like button down below. Leave some comments below on all your thoughts, future topics you want to see, any of that stuff that you want to leave down below there. For those of you over on Apple, subscribe to the podcast, leave a 5-star review. We'll read those out if you guys do leave them on the pod. On Spotify, Google, Stitcher, follow the podcast. New episodes coming out every single week. And that is where we are going to start to sign things off. I appreciate you guys tuning in here for episode 5 of Shootin the Schmidt. We will see you guys next week with episode 6. Hope you guys all have a good one. Peace.